All right, let's get into some end stops. So you have your end stop cable like this. It's actually, I don't know why they sent me four, but you can actually strip them so you have individual ones for each one of the end stops. So we'll go ahead and strip all these down. And oops, and we are going to look for bag A8, and then these other two plastic pieces. Okay, so our first one, just grab one of the end stops. And in our bag, our A8 bag, there is a bunch of screws, of course. Um, so basically, there's some standard M4 nuts with the T bolts, or M4 bolts with the T nuts we've been using everywhere. And then there's some really skinny, probably M2s with nuts as well. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, oh crud, we should have done this on the X end stop before we put it on. All right. Well, okay, I'm back, and yeah, hopefully you went back and put this guy on. It actually wasn't too hard to put on there. I just had to loosen the eccentric screws, pop this guy off. Had to take this front wheel off, but then it was fine. Just put the bolts up from underneath and on there. Um, Anyways, these plug into the minus plugs on the board. So you want to look for the X minus for this one and plug it in. And the instructions will tell you the same. Okay, and our Y limit switch is actually going to go on the back here, near the motor. Now they have the firmware set up with a minus 41 Y position, so you can put the limit switch right up against. If you had that other plastic piece on there, which I said not to put on there, but it would be like right up against that. So what you're going to do is use these little guys. Actually, you're going to make them both the same. One's going to be for the Z and one's going to be for the Y. So you take one of the limit switches, and in the Y case, you're going to want it to, let's see. Yeah, you'll probably want it to go like this, and then it'll mount to the metal like this. So we will put these screws and little tiny nuts on here. And when I say little tiny nuts, I mean they are little tiny nuts. Okay, so screw goes through like that. And a little tiny nut goes on top. Down. All right, so there's our Y, and then I'll spin the board around and mount that on. We can go. You can go ahead and put on the M4s with the T nuts as well, like we've done so many times already. Okay. So there's our Y. I'm going to set it off to the side so we can mount it later. And basically we're going to build the Z the same way. So the Z is actually going to attach behind here. So when this slides down, it will hit it. So we want it to be, let's see, it's going to mount like this. So we want the Z to be like this. Go ahead and tighten these down. And our Z limit switch is done. We can actually go ahead and plug these in. So this is my Z minus. Like I said, I have the auto sensor too, but I'm gonna show us a different video setting that up. So for now, we're just gonna do this. And my Y minus, oops, Z minus, Y minus is gonna go back here. Well, it's actually easier to move my camera than move the printer around at the moment. So we are at the back of the printer now. Here's our Z rod and our right side panel. Okay, let me go around. So this is my Y. So what we want to do with our Y is kind of eyeball where this kind of curve starts here. If you take the extra piece that they sent, and if you were to put it on and line it up with this other one, the end stop would fit like right up against the edge of it, like so. All right, so that's kind of where you can judge where to put this end stop. And actually, we need to swap it to the other side because it's rubbing on the belt. See? So we need to have the bolts go through the other way. So I'm going to fix that real quick. Okay. So that's the way this guy should look. Like I said, if you had put on this piece, then yeah, it would be about lined up with this piece here. Okay, but you're probably going to have to adjust it at some point anyways. So just go somewhere around here. Should be good. All right, so when this comes back, you'll hear it hit that switch. Okay. So that's how that guy should look. Bolt, plastic, switch, nuts. All right. So our Z is going to be very similar. This one you're going to have to be adjusting quite a bit at the beginning. Okay, this one's going to go on something like this. But like I said, you're going to have to adjust this one quite a bit. So for now, just get it kind of someplace reasonable. And then we'll adjust it later. You don't even have to tighten up both screws right now. Alright, so we'll just kind of leave it around there. So that's kind of where the Z is going to go, right behind the rod. So when this piece comes down, it'll hit it and sense that that's where our home is. Okay, so there's our end stops.